Hi everyone, it's Chrissie and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if this is your first time watching. So today we're going to be building in a world that I haven't built in probably, honestly, it's probably been almost 2 years if I'm being completely honest. It feels like it's been forever. But we're actually building in Chestnut Ridge, which is the world that came with the Sims 4 Horse Ranch. And we're going to be building a small, tiny little, kind of like a family ranch. And I say family ranch because the house has more than one bedroom. That's the only reason it's really like a family ranch. But it's also like, it's a family home basically. It's a small 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom family home. And the reason I call it a ranch is just because I'm building in Chestnut Ridge. And also they do have gardening space for like crops and things like that. I also thought that they would have goats and sheep. And they also have chickens. So it's not a horse ranch because honestly, I have played with horses on a 20 by 20 lot before. And this is a 20 by 20 lot. It's built in the Galloping Gulch neighborhood in Chestnut Ridge. It's where Don Guzman usually lives. But basically, I have played with horses on a small lot like this. And it is a little bit of a nightmare, if I'm being completely honest. Because horses, they do require a fair few things. And if you don't want to constantly travel with your horse, or like constantly have them off the lot to do things like practice their jumping or their barrel racing or things like that, you would want those items on your lot. And when you're playing on a 20 by 20 lot where you want a house that's not a tiny home, that's not just a tiny little box home, it can be quite difficult to fit everything in. So yeah, I decided no horses for this family, but I did build it with the idea that they would have like goats, like tiny little goats and sheep, and I gave them a chicken coop, and there's like a bunch of gardening space, so they could have a bunch of different animals on this lot if they wanted to. And then the bedrooms I set up as a main bedroom and a child's bedroom. So yeah, you could have, obviously you could revamp the child's room and turn it into a toddler room or a infant bedroom or whatever you would need, but I just furnished it for a child. And it is quite a small bedroom, it's not big at all. I finally have the layout figured out at the moment. So yeah, it took me forever to get the layouts figured out for this house because it's so small and it's literally like a box. And if you guys have ever built in the game, you know that boxy houses, like that are just like a square or a rectangle, they're always the most difficult to figure out a floor plan for some reason. Because when you have an interesting shaped house where you have like bump outs and extensions and all of that stuff, it's a little bit easier to figure out a floor plan because you could make like an extension. You could say, okay, that's a room. Or a bump out, okay, you know, this is part of a room, or this is where I'm gonna put, you know, the kitchen or the living room or whatever. But when you have a square, or in this case, it's not technically a square, it's a little bit more of a rectangle. But then any case, when you have a like boxy house, it's a lot more difficult because you need to figure out, you know, how am I gonna connect the rooms? Where do I need to put hallways? And it's a whole thing. So at the end of the day, the first floor is basically one big open plan. Kitchen, living, dining, all of that stuff. The bathroom is downstairs. I did cut out me furnishing the bathroom simply because it's really boring. And whilst I was doing the floor plan, I actually had to figure out the placement for things like the shower, the sink, and the tub, and all of that stuff. Because I wanted to fit in, I wanted to use the bathtub from Horse Ranch because I haven't used it in ages. But then I also wanted to have a shower because if you don't have a shower, it's kind of just annoying for gameplay. So yeah, I had to fit in a fair few things, and that meant that I had to like mess around with the floor plan a little bit and, you know, figure out, play test it basically as I was furnishing to make sure that I had space and that they could reach everywhere and all of that stuff. Sorry you guys, I'm not going to cut that out. I will make it a little bit quieter, but I'm still getting over like a cold or something that I had last week, or like by the time you guys are seeing it, like 2 weeks ago, and everything else is gone. I'm just stuck with this annoying like cough, and I found that when I talk for a while it kind of acts up a little bit. So yeah, I will make that quieter, but I refuse to cut this voiceover. I've mentioned this before, but whenever I do voiceovers, I do them in one take. Like the voiceover part, I will do it in one take, and I've made it kind of like a rule for myself where I'm not allowed to pause voiceovers and cut stuff out and things like that. Mainly because, and this isn't because I'm lazy or anything like that, but this is because if I start doing that, if I start, you know, pausing a voiceover, or, you know, starting over when I feel like, you know, I haven't done it correctly or whatever, or I'm not happy with it, if I start doing that, I will do that constantly. I will get like 10 minutes into a voiceover and then decide, you know what, no, I'm doing this again. And then I will get 15 minutes into the voiceover and decide, oh, I messed it up, I'm doing it again. And it's just like a never-ending cycle if I start doing that. So I've made it a rule for myself. If I mess up anywhere further in than the first 30 seconds of a voiceover, it's just staying. It's staying in the voiceover. I'm very much someone that's a strong like proponent for the idea that be yourself. And when I watch videos, I never mind if someone has like a little bit of a blip in a video, or if they, like me for example just now, had to cough and I couldn't like pause the video long enough, or I couldn't like get far enough away that you wouldn't hear it. So I don't mind hearing stuff like that when I watch videos, unless it's within like the first 20 seconds of a video. Then it might be a little bit like, okay, first impressions kind of thing. Like try and make a good first impression, basically. That's why I will stop a video and restart if I mess up within like the first 30 seconds. But we're over 5 minutes in. I feel like if you're over 5 minutes into a video, you're probably sticking around. And that's just me, because if I watch 5 minutes of something, I will finish the video. Even if I never watch that creator's videos again, I will finish the one that I started. Just because I'm someone that when I start watching something, like a YouTube video, I really want to finish it. So yeah, just so that I can say, okay, I finished the whole thing. And it's very much a completionist thing that I have. But yeah, I don't even know what I was talking about before I started rambling. In any case, we've moved on from where we were. And as you can see, the exterior is coming together. I did decide to fence in the entire like yard space, apart from that little tiny part right at the front door. And I did that mainly so that the goats and the chickens won't like run off the lot and get everywhere, because that always annoys the ever-living I don't even know what out of me when they do that. And then you're looking for a goat and suddenly they're like 500 meters away from your lot and hiding in a bush somewhere. And it's annoying, especially because you can't control them. It's not like a sim that you can control and like make them come back. You have to call them over or go get them, and it's a whole pain. But something that I've noticed, and I feel like this is a glitch, is when you lock the gates. Like when I lock that gate at the front, and I made sure to lock it for all goats, all mini sheep, and all chickens, my sheep and my goats could still go outside of the lot. Like they just walk right through the gate. And I don't know if that is a glitch. It must be a glitch, because obviously it's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to keep them inside. So yeah, it's really annoying, and something that I ran into. Hopefully it was just a like my game problem and not a everyone's game problem, hopefully. But if you guys download this, or if you're playing any other builds with like any other like builds with mini goats or mini sheep, let me know if locking gates for them actually works for you, because for me it didn't. Like, it just did not want to work, and I had the same problem in a different build that I did. I don't know if I've posted it yet or not, but where I had chickens, and my chickens could also do the same thing where they left through the gate even though I locked the gate. So yeah, let me know if that is something that you guys are running into as well, because I feel like that is something that I haven't seen people talking about it yet, so I don't know if it's just me. Hopefully it's not just me. But yeah, let me know if that happens for you as well. But we've now moved on to the interior, and as usual, we're starting with the kitchen. And it is a fairly small kitchen, it's not super big. I kind of had to make the most of the space that we have, and there are a couple of like island counters. One of them has the sink, the other one is right next to the fridge. That one isn't usable or like to prepare food on because the fridge obviously is blocking it, but I did put that tea set off to the side of it, and that does work. And like I said, I playtested this whole thing. I played with the sim, and I had them have like, I believe they had 2 goats, 2 sheep, and like 5 chickens on this lot, and I even had them planting things, and like I played for a good couple of days like off camera to playtest this build, and it all worked. Like, oh my goodness, my throat, sorry guys. But basically what I was saying is that it all worked perfectly fine. The bathroom is a little bit cramped, but like I said, everything functions. That's why I did it off camera, because I had to be like fiddly a little bit, like moving the sink a little bit and moving the toilet a little bit, and like going back and forth to make sure that it works and that your sims can access everything. But they can access the bathtub, they can access the toilet, all of that stuff. And even in here where I have that gorgeous single tile like stove fireplace, I love that thing so much. The only downside, the only like not negative but criticism that I have with that fireplace is the fact that there's a kettle on top of it. And that is a little bit annoying when you want to use it in like a living room, for example, or if you want to use multiple of them, or like use it in a bedroom or something, you wouldn't have a kettle on top of it. Not in every room that you place it in. I really wish we had a version where there wasn't a kettle on it, because that would just make it so much more versatile, especially because we don't really have single tile fireplaces. I believe that might be the only one that we had. I know Love Struck actually has like, it has like a round one and then a square one, but I can't remember if that's single tile or if it's like 2 tiles, like it's just, or like 1.5 tiles. But this one is one of the only like wall mounted single tile fireplaces that we have, and I wish it was a little bit more versatile. Like, that's the only complaint that I have, because I love that fireplace. It's one of my favorites in the game, and I'm always so happy whenever I get to use it. But yeah, we have a little bit of like a reading corner. We have the dining room table, small little dining table, like opposite the fireplace. We have a living room that is fairly big considering how cramped the rest of the house is. There's a 3-seater couch, a couple of chairs, you know, they have a TV. I even put a stereo on that bookcase that I placed next to the staircase. And yeah, I really like the way it turned out, and I also liked combining a bunch of different things. Like, I used a bunch of werewolf things, I used obviously a lot of the horse ranch items, I used a lot of things from Cottage Living, I also used a couple of things from the Enchanted by Nature pack as well, because a lot of those like wood tones and like kind of like older looking items just worked really well with this. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. And I had a lot of fun with this build. It was in a style that I haven't done in ages. And I feel like because I was able to work on this pack when it came out, if you guys missed it, I had the amazing opportunity to build for the Horse Ranch pack. I actually built 3 of the lots for this pack. And, you know, that was probably one of the best experiences and the best opportunities I've ever had in my life. Like, to be able to build for a game that I am like it's such a huge part of my life. Like, it's such a huge part of my identity as well. Like, playing The Sims. Like, I'm a Simmer. And it was an amazing experience. So whenever I come back to this world, or whenever I come back to building in this kind of like ranch, you know, Midwestern type of style, it always has such a, not necessarily nostalgic, but like it always brings back such fond memories of the whole process. And it just makes me so happy that it always puts a smile on my face. And I don't know why I don't do builds like this more often, but it's so much fun. And especially now that I can use it, or that I can do it with a bunch of different packs, and, you know, see how my build style changes and all of that stuff. It's so much fun. But yeah, we've moved on to the main bedroom, and then the last bedroom that we're going to be doing is the kids' room. But I want to tell you guys something really exciting, and that is the fact, two things actually. One, I got a job. So I don't know if I mentioned this before. I mentioned I was job training, but I actually have a job now, a regular 9-to-5 job. I am working from home, but I'm also super busy. So like, it's very much a, I don't really have time for anything else during the day type of thing. But yeah, I am now working. And that means that I'm working a little bit more slowly on content, so videos might be a little bit slower for a while, just while I'm finding my footing and like getting a hang of everything that I need to do. But also, something really exciting is I do have access at the moment to the Sims 4 Adventure Awaits expansion pack. I have early like beta, kind of, I don't know if you'd call it like beta or alpha access. We call it something different, but it's basically an early access version of the game. So it's completely separate from my normal game, as you guys will see when we do the tour for this. I don't even have the pack in my normal game. It's a completely separate version of the game. But I do have access to that pack. So if there is anything specific that you guys would like to see, then definitely let me know. If you have any build ideas or, you know, anything like that, let me know. I probably won't be doing any overviews just because everyone does overviews, and I feel like there are a lot of simmers that do a better job of doing overviews than I would. So I am mostly, well, I tried to say mostly, or I don't know what I was trying to say, but I'm mostly going to be focusing on like doing builds and things like that. So if you have any build ideas, let me know down in the comments. I can't tell you guys yet when we will be starting posting it, but it is later in the month, closer to the end of the month. So yeah, just keep an eye on the channel. Turn on the notification bell if you don't want to miss that. But yeah, let me know if you have any ideas or suggestions or things like that for my early access content. And that content will only, those builds will only be the base game and the new pack. So they're all going to be pack restricted as well. So yeah, let me know what you guys want to see, and I will try and do as many of your suggestions as I can. But yeah, with all of that said, that's kind of that was the second thing that I wanted to tell you guys. Like, I'm busy with work, and then I'm busy with early access. So that means that normal, I say in air quotes, normal content like this might be a little bit slower coming out because I only have so many hours in the day, and there's a lot of other things like a seminar that I'm doing, and like it's a whole thing. There's other things as well that I'm doing, so I'm very busy. But it's a good busy, so I'm happy about that. I'm happy that I'm busy with things that are helping me grow, and like, you know, it's a good busy basically. So yeah, just wanted to keep you guys updated. But with all of that said, we are going to go ahead and jump on into the game in just a second. But before we do that, I want to tell you guys that this build isn't up on the gallery yet, I don't think. And that's mostly because I haven't updated my game yet, because I don't want to break my game. There have been a couple of issues with the latest update. So I haven't updated it yet, and I don't have the time at the moment either. So it will be up when it's up. When I finally have my game updated, I will upload this as soon as I can. Okay, so here we are with the finished build. And as you guys can see, I still have some of my, you know, there are some chickens in here. Chickles? What the heck is a chickle? Chickens. There are some chickens in here. We have our little goats and sheep running around. But yeah, this is the finished build, and I am obsessed with the way it turned out. Like I said, I have a soft spot in my heart for builds in this style and in this world. I love it so much. But yeah, it's built on the Canyon Crossing lot. It is a 20 by 20 lot. And I did give it a couple of lot traits. I also gave it the Quake Zone lot challenge as well. So, you know, the lot itself has some, you know, personality and quirks. And I absolutely love that. But yeah, so this is our finished build. And if you come up, we have the front little porch area with the chest table, couple of rocking chairs. I have a clothesline off to the side because I have a washing machine upstairs, but no dryer. So I figured, you know, with the weather in this world, you can have a clothesline. You don't have to have a dryer as well. It never snows. It almost never rains. So yeah, you'll be good with just a clothesline. Obviously, if you want to get rid of the laundry, feel free to do that. I know not everyone likes playing with laundry, so yeah. Just something that I put in that you could easily get rid of. But going through the little yard first, I think. So you walk into the gate. We have a bunch of plants over here. We have a bee box. Obviously, we have our chicken coop. I put in a little fire pit, a picnic table, a grill as well. All that works. I know it looks like there's a lot of stuff around the grill that might block it. It doesn't. Same with the bee house. It also still works. The bee box. But yeah, over here we have a little, like, it's not really a shed because it's open. It's kind of like a little pergola. I don't know what you would call this, like undercover bit, basically. That I have a horse bed in it, but I have that because the goats and the sheep actually also sleep on that. So I put that there for them. I also put in a feeder over here so that they can eat on their own. If you fill the feeder, they will eat of that like hay. You don't have to feed them yourself. I have chicken food laying around. Chicken feed, you know, let me just get rid of that because I was feeding my chickens. But yeah, we have that. And then we also have a little back door, basically, that leads you into the house. But right back to the front. Let's start from the front. So we have our little porch area. You come in and you're right into the living room. So yeah, everything works in here. I have my playtest system. I have an enchanted house plant in here as well. Because this is the save file where I playtested it. So that's why it's enchanted. So yeah, we have a little corner over there for some crochet. That's not crochet. That's cross stitch. We have some space for cross stitching. We have a little reading corner over here by the fireplace. We have obviously our little dining table. We have our small little kitchen, which I didn't put a lot of stuff in. I didn't even give them a microwave. But there are 2 open counters if you want to add a microwave for whatever reason. I just didn't feel like it needed it, so I didn't add one. But yeah, we have our kitchen. And then right at the bottom of the stairs, we have our bathroom. And this is what I meant by I had to do a lot of like fiddling with it. Because you might look at this and say that they can't get through there. They can. I tested it a bunch of different times to make sure. And they can get through there. They can access the bathtub, you know, the sink, the shower, everything like that. All of it works. But yeah, so there's the little bathroom. Then going upstairs, we have a very tiny little hallway. Where I put the washing machine. I also have a desk and a laptop. I also have the laundry basket right here on the like landing space. And this is probably one of the most cramped landings that I've ever done. But again, it all works perfectly fine. And then through this door, we actually have the main bedroom. So yeah, it's just a nice little main bedroom. Both sides of the bed actually work, all of that stuff. And then we also have the kids' room up here as well. So yeah, they have a little doll's house. They have an activity table. Obviously, they all have like closets and then a little bed. And that is basically it for this build, you guys. It's not like I said, it's not super big. It's actually quite tiny compared to the things that I've been building recently. But yeah, that is the little floor plan for you in case you wanted to see that. But yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you know, do all of the fun YouTube things. Give the video a like, hit the subscribe button if you're new. Turn on the notification bell as well so that you don't miss any of my uploads, especially with me having early access. You know, that way you won't miss when I post early access videos. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you guys are having a great day and a great week. Like I mentioned, this won't be up on the gallery yet, simply because I haven't updated my game yet and I haven't had the time to do that and then make sure that all of my mods work and I'm not running into any issues and all of that stuff, I've decided that I'm going to hold off on updating my game for a little bit, probably until just before the new expansion pack releases, because obviously the early access that I have isn't with my regular game. It's completely separate, it's completely on its own, so I don't have it at on my normal game. But before the pack comes out, I will have to update my game. So when I do that, I will make sure to upload this build and all of the other builds that I've also done that I haven't uploaded yet. I will upload them to the gallery. But the tray files for this build, if you really want to grab it, they will be up for channel members. And then in 3 weeks from the time that this video goes out, I will upload the tray files for everyone over on my Tumblr as well. But yeah, that's just a little heads up. But like I said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry for all of the rambling and the coughing and all of that stuff through the video. It really couldn't be helped this time around. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're having a great day. And I will talk to you all in my very next video. Bye everyone.